Hey everybody, welcome back to Tavern Talks. I'm your wonderful barkeep and host for the evening, and tonight I have another special guest coming in to tell us tale about a place. And the reason I'm saying it that way is we here at Tavern Talks have three ways that we interview. We interview a character, we interview a world, or we interview a product. Tonight we're going to kind of do a combination. We're going to do a world, but we're also going to do the product because my favorite wizard is in town tonight. So we are going to talk about the Tomb of Gyzengaxx. This is a huge thing happening. If you've been on any sort of social media right now, it's popping up everywhere. But
we're like nationwide or something.
Nationwide, probably farther than nation at this point.
Maybe a little more.
International. But it has been always an honor to run side by side with Gooey Cube for many different things, and I can't wait to see him and Luke and everybody else at GaryCon in a week.
Like
I didn't realize
so
that
exciting.
Until now. Like, I was talking to Eric about it just a minute ago. I said, wait a second, it's a week.
Yeah, we're packing up like crazy. We got all kinds of things going on, and of course I'm late with the Ghost Stone little side adventure that is going to be run there, but it's fantastic. I promise you it's fantastic. In fact, I thought about it, James. I was thinking, gosh, I should have some artwork for you to show. I should have sent you some art.
Oh, it's fine. Right now we've just been doing more of a podcast based lately.
Okay.
People can see you, of course. They see your lovable mug, but
Good.
Besides
I need a little trim.
Yo, I'm feeling it. I'm in the same boat right now. I gotta get it cleaned up a little bit. So, but the beard's coming in heavy right now. So
yeah, it's a good beard, bro. It's a good beard. Yeah, it's got a little fullness and all of that oomph. Very nice, very nice.
But, yeah, let the beard. Some people are saying no. Let the beards free.
Free the beards. Free the beards.
All right. So
did you say free beer? Did somebody say free beer?
Oh, please don't. I can't say that. Uh-oh. I'll be broke.
Well, so James, what do you want? What would you like to talk about for the guy in Gyzengaxx? You want me to just expound a little, or would you like to ask some questions? Or
I mean, kind of wanted to do the way we've been doing what we call tour guide. So we're gonna place. You're gonna tell me where you're gonna place me, and then we're gonna kind of play The Sims at this. So I'm gonna look to my left. I'm gonna look to my right. Maybe we're standing right in front of the tomb. What am I looking at? Without giving too many secrets away, because you don't want to spoil it for people. No, Erthos, I'm not buying everybody beer at Gary.
I thought he said it. That's what I thought he said. Everybody in the chat. I heard free beer. I heard free beer on James. That's what I heard.
We broke. Anyway, I have a lot of friends that are coming with beer, though, so hopefully we can all supply. My prayer. But yeah, this just sounds like a fun way to do it. And of course, as we get to certain parts of the tomb, maybe tell a story or two to kind of explain maybe where this part is coming from or how this came to be. And we'll do this for about an hour. See where things go. So where are we starting at? Where is this whole tomb even placed at in Zyalthe?
So long ago, I'll tell you the quick story because I think your listeners might like this. So
sure.
In East Verdestia in particular, but it's all over all of our maps, I put all these little Easter eggs, right? And one of them was placed in Vanzentia in East Verdestia at the foot of the Mithril Mountains, and it just says Gyzengaxx. And some time back, I happened to be able to be acquainted with Luke Gyzengaxx, and I told him about this little spot. And I said, sir, if you would be interested, I would love to do a tale that honors your dad, if you wanted to do that. And so, my friends, at the feet of the Mithril Mountains in Vanzentia, which is a sovereignty in the center of the continent of East Verdestia, there is an area, the environs of Gyzengaxx is what we call it, but it is to the east of Zoldengrad, northeast of Zoldengrad, and in a rather forlorn area, in truth be told. And long ago, there was a small village here that was established called Ethel. And most of the folk who lived there eked out a living herding sheep and quendoof, finding their way about, fishing and hunting, and just, sort of making as best as they could. Now, there were many things that happened over that time that actually made it intriguing to a certain archmage, an archmage named Gyzengaxx, who some 40 or 50 annums past, I don't remember exactly, but it's in that time frame, came to this little area, and on the outskirts, a little further away from town, built a tower and brought his family, in particular, his son, Lucas. And the tower that he built, and there's rumored that there are things beneath it as well. There was a dwarven hold that was believed to lie beneath, an abandoned one that was believed to lie beneath the area where Gyzengaxx built his tower. And the time passed, and Lucas grew to be a man and went off to be in the military in Vanzentia. And time continued to pass, and years went by, and a strange thing happened some years back. The wizard, who was often seen in town, and in fact had a marked influence upon that town, because many of his friends, when they determined to retire from adventuring and other such vocations, came to live in Ethel. And this explains why there are so many intriguing characters there. But as I said, some years back, a strange thing happened. The wizard, who frequented the town and was often involved in many soirees and events and other sorts of things, he stopped coming. For a while, it was not considered unordinary. He was one who traveled a lot, and many believed that he was just on a venture. However, as time continued to pass, some became worried, and they went to his tower. But when they got there, they were surprised to find that the wizard would not come out, and indeed, surrounding the tower and the woods below, there were many fell creatures and monsters. And in fact, there were wards upon the tower, and even some of his more powerful friends could not enter therein. As a few more years passed, people stopped referring to it as the Tower of Gyzengaxx, and indeed began to call it the Tomb of Gyzengaxx, believing that the wizard had perished therein. And thus, time passed again, and Lucas, the son of Gyzengaxx, returned from the military, having retired, to come to Etholm, and learned that his father had died, or at least this is what they believed. And thus began the tale of the Tomb of Gyzengaxx. And you find yourself, my friend, sitting in a common room, a most magnificent place called the Grey Hawk Inn. Now, the Grey Hawk Inn is not named, as many might think, for some kind of a bird, but indeed is named for an entirely different thing. For some years in the past as well, many in the town were looking up and saw a large hawk in the sky flying toward the city. And it was a very large hawk, and they thought, goodness gracious, this is a big bird. What is it doing? And it's flying more to the city and more to the village and more to the village. And suddenly they realized it was not a hawk at all. And indeed it flew down and grabbed the gnome owner of the Grey Hawk Inn, which was not called the Grey Hawk Inn at that time. Sadly, this interesting individual was consumed by what was actually a wyvern. And left. The wyvern was then hunted later, captured, and the new owner of the inn renamed it the Grey Hawk Inn and mounted the entire wyvern on the wall as a testament to his adopted father, who was the gnome. So you find yourself sitting in the common room, two large hearths blazing. There are many people milling about. The place is very busy often because Etholm has become sort of a haven for adventurers. And some of the retirees from their adventuring careers established businesses of their own, interesting businesses that brought trade. And so the economy of Etholm sort of prospered over the past decade or two. And you happen to look across, and there, my friend, indeed, is Lukaj Gyzengaxx, sipping a beer by himself at the bar. What do you do?
Well, now I'm looking around this bar, and I'm sitting there, and I see Lukash on this in the distance. Is there anybody else that I'm seeing as I'm kind of glancing around?
Oh yes, there are many characters, and if you have knowledge of adventuring in the world of Zyothe, and certainly in Verdestia, you recognize a number of them. Yes, the professor is sitting over there with his fusil draped over his arm. Yes, you see a dwarf, and I want to be careful what I say here, James, because I don't want to give away too much, but yes, you recognize more than a few rather famed adventurers sitting around this tavern, yes, enjoying their libations. You also see many probably less experienced adventurers, those who have come here to perhaps gain fame, gain glory, or gain death if they make the wrong decisions, yes. And the barkeep, who is an interesting character himself, comes over. He has horns growing out of his head, and he says, "Good evening, sir. I am Rolf Zandvich, and I would be pleased to serve you if you would like something to eat or something to drink, my friend."
And what is the local brew here?
You have Zandvich's own, my friend, and we have 3 different kinds. We have the stout, we have the porter, and we have the lager. Any of which you would be pleased, I think, to sample. Oh, sorry, I forgot my voice.
Flight. Take the flight. I'll try all 3.
Perfect. I will go get them for you, and I will return in but a moment if you do not mind. And he goes, "By the way, our specialties are sandwiches. Would you like one of those as well?"
On a house sandwich, of course.
Ah, marvelous. He takes out a strange-looking die. 20 sides, it would seem.
Oh, look at that.
And it is fairly large. And he says, well, around here, if you order the house, you must roll for your sandwich.
Oh.
And he puts a menu down in front of you and hands you this die and says, "Roll away."
I got an 8.
The roast beef with onion and mustard. Yes, I will be right back, my friend. Right back. Yes, I will. And he goes off and returns to the back of the area where he apparently is making your order or getting your order made or whatever it happens to be. What do you do?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and see what happens. Being the tour guide here, I can't interact with anybody. I'm not supposed to, at least.
I did not know that.
But the NPC here, I will take, of course.
I think the chat should tell you to make an exception. Yes,
they can tell me to make an exception, but I don't want, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the connection with Lukaj because it's going to be so good in the book. Make an exception immediately. Pops up. So how far from Etholm is the tomb?
So it says it's somewhere between a day and 2 days travel. The wizard, obviously, the archmage, could travel it much faster, right, in his own ways, yes. But typically about 2 days, and you have to go to the east of the village towards the Mithril Mountains to arrive there. And it is not the only thing that is in the area, for there are many intriguing locations and localities around here, which is, again, what has brought so many adventurers to the place, right? There are a number of abandoned dwarf and gnomish holds, right? There are ancient Ethernic ruins in the area, and indeed many rumors of much treasure and ancient artifacts of great power. And so those come here, right, and bring their coin to spend in the town of Etholm, the village of Etholm, and enjoy the splendors, if you will, of this magnificent Grey Hawk Inn.
So this is definitely a haven for adventurers. This is not
It is, without a doubt.
This is not
What
something that
used to
just
be
your
a
everyday
backwater
person.
town. Yes. What used to be very much a backwater village, right, has now become, really, it's not, they call it still the village of Ethholm, but the fact of the matter is it's large enough now to actually probably qualify as a true township. But it is still called the village. There's actually a small keep that was built to help protect the place. The two leaders of the town are a female mage named Byrne, and a male sort of barbarous individual fighter, if you will, named Bryphus. And they are good and capable people, and do a good job sort of managing and running the administrative affairs of the town, and keeping the small military trained and ready to go should something happen and require protection, if you will. Not
to mention you've got level 15 and 20 level characters walking around this place like it's candy. So
yes, but they are older now.
They're older now. They've taken their
as they might have been in the past. Yes, so
well, the
they
audience
would prefer to not engage and to have others engage on their behalf. Yes.
Yeah. Right. You take care of this. We'll jump in if we have to, but my back hurts, my legs hurt, my knees hurt. This is a normal thing.
Oh, this is me. Isn't that? That's me right now.
Yeah. Not much younger, and yet I'm still in that pain, so I get it. All right. So the audience wants me to walk up to Lukash and ask him what advice he would give an adventurer as they descend the tomb of Gyzengaxx.
I think that is really wise. So the audience wants you to go forward. So you approach this very strapping large man sitting. He has a little bit of gray in his beard, relatively clean cut, if you will, and still in clearly a good shape. Still works out with the sword and does all this stuff. So you walk up and you say to this man, what do you say?
I've heard of the tomb of Gyzengaxx. Is there any advice you have if I choose to go venture to it?
It is not a tomb. It is my father's home. And I would appreciate it if you would not refer to it as such. But if you wish to try to go there, then perhaps an arrangement might be made between us. For I am seeking a group of adventurers to infiltrate my father's home and find out what has happened to him, because I do not believe he is dead.
When was the last time he was seen?
According to the people of the town, it has been some days, some weeks, indeed, some years. And no one got word to me, which has given me some frustration. For perhaps something might have been done if I had known sooner.
Well, sadly, today, it's just me.
Perhaps you should acquire some companions.
I have to go.
And perhaps an arrangement can be made.
So I'll look around. Do I have any companions that I can rally up with some gold?
The whole damn bar is ready.
Bar full.
No, there are certainly individuals that might be interested in doing this. You would have to, of course, persuade them or encourage them or something. Yes.
Well, thankfully, being the tour guide and having an unlimited amount of funds, he would place a giant bag of gold on the bar and say, for anybody willing to venture down to the home of Gyzengaxx, this bag will be split between you all, along with whatever treasures we find below.
So the line forms at the table, and you're going to have to interview probably about 25 folk. So are you prepared to go through the interview process?
Prefer not to, but I'm going to look through and I'm going to say, and I'm going to look for the basics, right? Does he actually have a weapon on him? Is he look capable? Does he not have so many gray hairs that he might not make it? There are different questions like that. But I'm sure out of all of them, most of them are capable at least to adventure.
Oh, of course. In fact, there are quite a number of them that look quite capable. You know, there are probably 5 or 6 that you really feel have the gumption, and I'm assuming you pick them.
I will snatch them up, yes, with some enticement of gold and some glory, because you're getting the prize of going down to a place that is considered a tomb of one of the most magnificent art wizards of our time. So maybe even better than Alphinius himself.
Now, let us not get carried away. His mastery of goos and slimes was just not even close.
Just not a goo slime person, no. If that was the case, the place would be much cleaner, because we've already created the Goomba, which is the little cleaners that are down below the. Now, I will say though, there is something to say about wizards and places of detriment, because last time we sent a bunch of adventurers down into the wizard's basement and got attacked by ornaments and Christmas decorations.
One of the great mysteries of our time is how come all of Alphinius Goo's and Dianaea's Goo's ornaments come to life every year.
Yeah,
at Winter's dance time. Yes, and with malevolent intent. Yes, trying to do bad things to anything they come in contact with.
Yeah, the e-elves we've heard are very, very strange and dangerous. But we're not on that side of the world.
Stay in the basement and let us be free of the pudding and the Nogman and those cursed elves of 3. Yes, those guys.
That is a different tale at a different time of the year, because
indeed.
Not near. We just got rid of our winter dances just a few months ago. So
of the chat, any questions at this point in time yet? Or
we have people saying, "You have my bow, you have my body spray," and then a +3 gumption sandals have been thrown out.
Magnificent! Everyone must have gumption sandals.
Mm-hmm. That's from our good friend Tone. From
Tone, still Tone. Yes,
yep,
always
still Tone. Maybe we'll find Tone in the bar. Tone would be a good adventurer.
Why not? There's a barbarian sitting there with a sword, and you pick him, and that doggone it, if his name isn't Tone, still Tone.
Tone.
Or is it Toe, still Toe? You couldn't quite hear. It was either Toe, still Toe, or Tone, still Tone. You aren't sure exactly which.
What is the most important thing to bring into this dungeon? Is the question. Your wits.
Yeah. So
there's a pole that you must bring with you, because if you don't, 10-foot pole. Because
so the magnificence of this area, right, is that it's not just the tomb, right? And in fact, as you are sitting there with your new compatriots around the table, a bard comes over to you, who has been entertaining the crowd and clearly is taking a break, and sits down. He has blue eyes and gray hair and looks wise and a little aged, and looks across the table and says, "Hail and well met. I am Rerondrel. I am a musician and a composer of sorts." And
I gotta pull up all my list of all
the
the random people that you've got added to this thing, so I can explain who that person is.
Oh yeah, you should probably take a little peek, because Rerondrel is kind of special.
Let's see. Where's that one at?
Oh, let me see. About around the G's. If you can,
they're all mixed up. That's you're a liar to that point.
They should be in order. They're supposed to be in alphabetical order. There's a G.
Roll, skip, task. Oh, never mind. It's yeah. I see it now. Yeah, that is for those that are curious. That is the magnificent Ed Greenwood's character.
Yeah, just can I take a moment for a commercial break, or not really a commercial break, just to talk, because this is the most amazing thing, James. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is why this is so enjoyable. Not just because there is a story being told, but because so many people that are the pillars of what we're at now in Dungeons and Dragons has been added to this. I mean, and the names just go forever, I swear.
Yeah, so we it was just, this happened in a conversation with Luke just a couple of months back. We were on the phone and I was talking to him about how Zyothe has all these characters in the world of Zyothe, and he was telling me about some of the people that he grew up with, and we were just sharing stories. And I said, hey, Luke, do you think, and I don't even remember which one it was, do you think XYZ person might be interested in being a character in the adventure? Since we're honoring your dad, and your dad is going to be represented by this ghost of girl Gyzengaxx. Yes, what do you think? And he goes, you know what, let me ask him. And I said, and for that matter, do you know others? Maybe there are others who might like to be a part of this. And he says, of course I do. And I said, I bet you do. And the next thing you know, we have Larry Elmore and Errol Otis, Skip and Penny Williams, Ann Carlton and Stefan Pokorny, and Armando the Bard, and I mean, goodness gracious, I mean, look at them all. I mean, it's insane.
It says, and at the bottom, of course, it says, with many more legends to come.
Yes, so. and we're adding a number right now. In fact, Chris Lindsay we just finished his portrait, and we're working on Mike Merle's portrait right now.
Oh, awesome.
And and of course, Kelsey Dion, who is famed in OSR circles, and it's just it's humbling, and it is unbelievable that, and of course Ed Greenwood, right, Rondral the Bard, right?
Yep.
And to have all of these legends taking part in this, what I think is very, I think people, again, Hasbro could come out with something like this and sell 20,000 copies and it would just be okay. Mm-hmm. That's probably not polite. But
it's probably not polite.
But this thing, there's not going to be many of these in the world, and it's going to be very, very special. And I'm excited for the collectability of it, and I'm excited for the specialness of it. And I know we've already embarked down a number of paths. James, you've seen the magnificent.
I get emails daily on the new things that are being added to this thing.
Yeah, you saw the Doom in Crovenloft. Yes, you saw that. I
saw the Doom in Crovenloft. I've seen the Rats first level adventure.
Trouble with Rats. Yes,
with Rats.
Well, we had to do it, right? I mean, this is
because this is so old. For people who might be watching this that have never played first and second edition, wizards had 4 health. Rats could kill a wizard at level 1 with no issue whatsoever.
Yes. You were a level 1 wizard or even a level 1 rogue. Let me tell you, giant rats were freaky. The rodents of unusual size. Yes, yeah. Indeed.
But no, and this is like the coolest thing about it, right? Like, this is where the passion changes with things, because everybody is on board. This is not Hasbro being, hey, we're going to build something and then give us what you want, and we're just going to keep creating with it. No, this is very passionate on the fact that everybody's input is being taken in. Their characters look like them. There's this, the best way to put it is there's this love connection here compared to just a business connection.
Well, and it's going to be a little lampoony, right? Which will be fun, right? Because a lot of
it has to be,
yeah,
right.
In the old days, had a little bit of lampoon, but believe me, it's also going to be grimdark. It's still going to be, a challenging and intense, kind of tales of adventure. But I can see it going on for years. I can see, all kinds of wonderful things coming in the future. And again, if I can just finish off my commercial, if you haven't looked yet, my friends, first of all, you have to go to gooeycube.com/back. Do this first. Actually, you can do it afterwards. It doesn't matter. And register.
I've got the Kickstarter up, but
you got to go to the gooeycube.com/back. That gets them the GUI haul if they back the adventure and campaign level. So you get a bonus stretch goal before we even got a stretch goal. Of course, now we got like 25, 30 of them unlocked already, and the value is ridiculous. And of course, you saw this, James, Necrosic right? Artificial
Yes.
curs, you saw those today, and crooksic fusels.
I'm just waiting on a phone call, in all honesty, being like, hey, I need help. I'm like, I'll be there to help where I can. I had such a, I will say, and you know, for somebody who has had the opportunity to write with GUI Cube and to not just write very small, but have the ability to write the adventure of The Witch's Wrath, it was such an honor to bring that to life. And for me personally, somebody who I never thought would ever write anything, it was definitely a dream come true. So,
well, it's a wonderful adventure, and you know, a fitting part of the world of Xyothay. And you know, as you know, James, it's not just you. It's, you know, we've had many wonderful people, not just write an adventure necessarily, but contribute materials. I mean, the entirety of Vanzentia was really crafted by our dear friend Corey, who most people know as Lokabut, yes, and more, friend. You know, and of course we lost Kendrick, who did Donvin, and it's just such a magnificent thing to not have it, you know, to have it be really a true community endeavor, and to be able to involve people who have never had a chance to be published. I know, you know, Rob, who crafted Strangely Gooey Holiday, you know, he told me the story that he had submitted so many things to various companies, and he said, I could paper my wall with rejection letters. He says, sometimes I don't even believe they ever read them. And really, I felt like he was, you know, when I was talking to him, nearly moved to tears, you know, to be able to do that. So I know we're not quite doing what Tavern. Is this okay, chat? Are we kind of screwing it?
Everybody seems to be enjoying it. So
no, tell the truth now. If you want us to keep going in a different direction, we can do so. I don't want to. But I, you know, obviously, I'm pretty excited about all this that's going on right now, and
you're right. Tavern Talks is nearly a lawless land. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. You're absolutely right. This is a cat. This is me trying to hurt a cat that.
Hold on, James. Hold on a second, because guess who's on the phone right now?
Who's on the phone right now?
Hey, Mike. I'm on Tavern Talks with your boy James.
Oh, you're on Tavern Talks.
Yes, right. Yes, I'm on.
What's up, Mikey?
Hey, hold on. There's James. Hold on.
Hi, Mikey.
James, what's going on, baby?
Not much, man. See you in a week. Gary Con's right around the corner.
Quick.
Yeah, we're gonna be out of here in just a few days. We're packing.
Are you guys going to Founders and Legends as well?
No, we don't. We don't have the time with all the stuff.
Same.
I wanted too bad.
So many people were going to be at Founders and Legends, but there was same thing. Yeah, and apparently we have adopted the low budget production as well, so it's okay.
Oh, nice, that's perfect. Hey, low budget productions are the best. Anyway, Michael, may I call you back, my son?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry about that, James.
No, you're fine. No,
I'm sure your Tavern Talks is really like, oh my God, it really is a low budget production. Now he's answering damn phone calls.
In all honesty, it's funny because Tavern Talks originally was created as two people sitting in a tavern talking. Yes. So this makes perfect sense that you'll get phone calls and people come bother you and you'll trail down roads. Last week,
where is the waiter with the boom? But anyway, so it's wonderful. Truly, I want you to know this, James. Our plan, first of all, I don't know if you've been watching, but a bunch of people have bought that character portrait because we only have a limited number of character portraits that we can actually include in Gyzengaxx because we have so many of the legends, right? Right. And so many people have wanted to do that and be able to have their characters in Gyzengaxx, so we have those. And of course, the Gyzengaxx Environs is going to be a community book. Right. And I have a thought because I'm really worried we're going to get too many submissions. You know, that even somebody like me who goes a little crazy, it will be too many pages. And so we might have to produce a digital supplement that goes along with the actual book itself. Or people could actually purchase the second part of it or something like that if we wanted to make it bigger. But when I ponder the environs of Gyzengaxx and I think about all of the nods and the Easter eggs, right? Are there giants in the hills? Yes. Are there, is there a dark city in the depths that is that tends towards evil that is run by dark elves, right? Right. And again, in Xyothay, we don't have societies tend to be more not so nice or nice based on sort of their leadership, but we don't have any groups or individuals that are necessarily bad or good in terms of groups. But still,
Well, I don't know about that one. There's some organizations that are or some.
oh no, the
groups that-
organizations absolutely, but the people, right? There's not. It's not like the dark elves in the world of Xayathe are all bad folk, right?
Yeah,
like they were in the old days, right?
I think everybody. I think if Josh was on the screen right now, he would say Valandia is definitely evil.
The Valandian Empire is a bad country. They are definitely bad people, right? They are definitely not good, right? And without a doubt, our friend Kalnavik in the Vile Desolation is
Right.
not a very good person, right? So, but there are even.
I think you're just stating though there are. This is not something like where you are bred evil. Like
Correct.
it's not in your DNA. You're not created evil.
In fact, as we know, the marvelous Hernesh, right, in Magdranog, is sort of trending towards, hey, wait a minute, I'm not sure that the Nordrukan orcs have this right with this warring and pillaging and burning and all of that stuff. And of course, Jim Kenny had a great hand in the crafting of Magdranog. So,
right.
Anyway, I know we got off topic there, but
we did, which is fine. I mean, it's fine. So we're going to step outside of the inn. We're going to rally our group that we found, and we're going to trail down the two-day trek to get to the tomb of Gyzengaxx, because I really want to have people get that splendor of like, what are we looking at? Like, as you're walking up to it, what does it look like?
So the tower was raised in the foothills at the base of the Mithril Mountains in a nice little sort of a wooded valley. Right, it was a fairly nice and wonderful place, and was a place that Gerald Gyzengaxx was really looking, to spend his latter years as well. Yes. And so you travel along the roads, and this is not heavily forested. It's more open land, a lot of grazing animals and those kinds of things. There's some mines that some of the folk in the town go to the mines and spend their week there, then come back to the town for the weekends and enjoy that time. In Xayathe, it's an 8-day week, and there's three days of rest beyond the 5, so a little different than our world. But you travel along and you see the herds of sheep and the herds of Quendoof and the cattle, and you see little farmhouses and those kinds of things as you travel. And then you come over some rises and over some hills and then come to a little dale. And as you look, you see that rising up on a mound in the center with the woods around it is this magnificent and fairly intimidating small, actually looks more like a keep in a lot of ways, with a tower rising up from the center of it. But there is something ominous as you view it. Something uncomfortable stirs in your spirit. There is a darkness here. There is something evil here. Something beyond even perhaps your skill and ability to overcome. And the woods themselves, as you regard them in front of you, also give you an uncomfortable feeling. They, perhaps in the past, were more nice and comfortable and a place to walk. Perhaps even there were druids there, but it doesn't feel that way anymore. It feels somehow oppressive, alien. And you don't know why. But to get to the tower, the tomb as they call it, right, you will need to enter the woods on a trail that is fairly obvious. It's more of a small road. And that is the direction of your journey if you wish to continue.
Well, I will. Though people are probably starting to get a little uncomfortable, I will give a rally and we will continue down that road.
So your companions are a bit rattled, no question. Some of them take out their weapons rather than leaving them in their scabbards or stuck on, their hips or on their belts. And you enter into the forest. Now, you definitely feel as you move in, the darkness in your soul enhances. It grows within, and about you, the gnarled trees and their bumps and their lumps, where perhaps they might have been beautiful in the past, they now feel almost as specters watching your walking on the path. And every once in a while, a branch will grab a hold of your cloak or tear at your sleeve, almost as if to bring you harm. The creatures in the forest are few. You do not hear many sounds of birds, and even though the Sul was rather high in the sky when you entered the forest, the canopy holds back much of the sunlight, giving the floor of the forest a muted and shadowed thing that also adds to your uneasiness. Fortunately, you are able to get through the forest without any significant incident, though there were a couple of creatures that did attempt to accost your party, which you were able to dispatch and put yourselves into a favored position, a place where you were able to overcome them. And now at last you come to the rise, and looking up across a series of switchbacks as the road goes back and forth, you can see the tower rising above you. Yes. Sounds good, doesn't it, Jay?
It does. Sounds good.
Now listen, if this was a real adventure, I would have attacked you 14 times by now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no. The trees would have killed me before I got through there.
So the interesting thing, right, about what's going on here is that there is a mystery, then there is a deeper mystery, and there is even a third and fourth level to this mystery. And the many things that are happening in the environs of Gyzengaxx and in this area, right, there's a lot of interrelationship, right? So there is this creepy sort of. You want me to tell you a little tale of Crovenloft so that people can get to, or would you like me to even read a little bit of Crovenloft for a moment?
I don't know. What does the audience think? Should we do some reading? I mean, I know you can put me on a pillow and I will listen to a tale any time of the day, but
no pressure. I mean, and if you don't want it, don't. I don't feel badly about that at all.
Callie is drooling to hear another tale.
Well, are we? I mean, again, I don't want to bore your audience. That would be terrible.
I don't think people are bored. I love how you say, I don't want to bore your audience, and I don't know a single person that gets bored listening to a tale of yours. So,
well, thank you, sir. That is,
of course,
that is a dear thing to say, and we are excited about this because, of course, the Ghost Stone is the basis of this, and it is the first little offering is the Ghost Stone, which is actually going to be run at GaryCon, and it's actually part of a larger adventure, which if we hit the stretch goal, you're going to get the larger adventure as well, called Doom and Crovenloft. Mm-hmm. So Crovenloft is this place. So all right, now this is a spoiler, so if you're going to play this, I'm going to spoil it for you right now.
That's fine.
All right. Let me put on my glasses, lest I read incorrectly. And I will just read the adventure synopsis.
That sounds good.
The adventure begins with the party being approached at the Greyhawk Inn in Ethholm. There, the proprietor of the place, a most intriguing individual named Rolf Zondvich, will talk to them. He will ask the PCs if they are adventurers and possibly interested in assisting with a mission that a friend is hiring for. Assuming that the adventuring party agrees to hearing the friend's proposal, Rolf will escort them to a private room in the back of the inn. Once there, the party will be introduced to Dan the Didactic, who is a rather well-regarded sage in the area, and also Professor Dungeon Master's character, if I might say, on the side.
See.
Dan will inform them that he has been studying some important texts that speak of an ancient danger that may soon come upon the region. He does not know enough yet of exactly what is coming, but he is convinced that ignoring it will lead to a terrible end. He will also tell the party that the texts he has reviewed thus far did not provide fully for the information he requires to ferret out the rather confounding mystery. There is one text, however, that he is unable to open due to many powerful wards that are ensorcelled upon it. It is called the Book of Dread, and it is a fearsome and dark tome with a horrific history. The text is said to have been penned many annums in the past by a powerful mage named Ardrana Dreadnair, who is said to have gone mad in the crafting of the work. Indeed, some days after she wrote it, she hung herself from the tree in Ethelm Square. Now, in those times, a large egg-shaped stone also stood in the square. It had been in place long before by the founders of the village and was indeed referred to then as the Founder's Stone. It had certain magical properties that some believe brought the settlement luck. But on the day that Ardrana hung herself, the stone changed dramatically. Its coloring became more ashen, and those who approached it too closely were overwhelmed with a feeling of despair. Then one night thereafter, a terrifying apparition was seen coming forth from the stone. The spirit began shrieking and convulsing in a most frightening manner as it hovered in the air. After perhaps an hour, it retreated back into the Founder's Stone, to the relief of the villagers. On the following night, however, this happened again, and indeed this terrible occurrence continued nightly for some weeks before those in the town determined to destroy the edifice. But no matter the means, they could not even scratch the surface of the rock. Worse still, those who attempted to damage it were afflicted in the days following with a terrible sickness that lasted for weeks. They also found that attempting to move the stone was an impossibility, as no means magical nor mundane could lift it from the ground. And those who tried to do so were also afflicted with the same sickness that took hold in those who had attempted to destroy it. In the weeks that passed, the people stopped calling the monument the Founder's Stone and began referring to it as the Ghost Stone. Thus did it terrorize the village for some months, until what some characterized as a miracle occurred. A reclusive lord in the area, one Estrude Crovenloft, who was said to be powerful in the ways of magic, came to the village one day in a large wagon with a number of his servants. He approached the stone, speaking words of power as he did so. Those who witnessed the affair said they saw the specter appear and bow its head before Crovenloft before retreating back into the rock. Estrude then levitated the massive monument into the bed of his wagon and departed, heading east toward the Crovenloft estate, which stood at the end of Crooked Moon Road. Dan will then tell the party of the Crovenlofts and of the curse of vampirism that came to the family some 10 years ago, taking hold of the three great-granddaughters of Estrude. Their names were Vladiana, Katrina, and Stratinava, and it is said that the three slew the entirety of the Crovenloft family and all the servants in a single night. Thereafter, they began to terrorize the village. But the Archmage Gerald Gyzengaxx, along with other powerful individuals, were able to drive off Vladiana and Katrina and entrap Stratinava within the walls of the Crovenloft estate, where she remains to this day, if the tale is to be believed. What all this has to do with the Ghost Stone is that Dan has learned that the edifice was taken to the Crovenloft estate and established in the gardens there. He believes that the specter therein is the spirit of the mage Ardrana, and that she can provide the word of opening that will allow the sage to read the Book of Dread without activating the magical protections guarding the tome. Dan will then give the party a scroll inscribed with a spell entitled Bind the Spirit, which he says will allow them to entrap the ghost and thereafter use the magics in the spell to compel her to provide the word of opening to them. He will also give the party another scroll, ensorcelled with the spell proof against detection and location, which he says will last for approximately 4 hours before diminishing. Most important, he will then provide them with a stern warning. Though Stratinava is confined within the walls of the estate and cannot escape, within the walls she is very powerful. The spell will likely keep them safe from her detection so long as they keep their distance from the manor house. The closer they get to the manse, however, the more likely the spell will fail, and the vampire will discover their presence. Should that happen, they will, without doubt, all die a most horrible death, or worse, live on in undeath as a thrall of Stratinava. And that, my friends, is where the tale begins.
I know you
The
love
ghost girl,
telling
yes.
tales. And I love the fact though that once again this is a homage to things of the past.
Indeed, without being too overt, without certainly taking things which we should not take, which is disrespectful, but to give a little bit of a nod to something that was special to me when I played it long, long ago.
Ravenloft has been a big thing for a lot of people growing.
Yes,
and
indeed.
still is. I mean, you see, it's one of the largest, most popular modules even to this day in 5th edition. So
yeah, James, I can't remember if I've ever told you this, but this was a crazy thing. Of course, Tracy Hickman wrote Ravenloft, and it was magnificent, right? And we lampooned it a little bit. We're gonna do a little lampooniness of it, and obviously we're pretty far away from it as the tale, which we wouldn't take the tale in any way, shape, or form,
right.
And honestly, doing our best to just nod to it without, just doing the right thing, right? We don't want to, to take work that is not ours, but we wanted to give a little bit of a nod. And of course, Tracy Hickman makes this wonderful tale, and for the first time in our extraordinary dungeoning careers, we find out that monsters can actually move about in the dungeon rather than sitting in the room waiting for you to knock down the door and kill them. Which is kind of what it was up until that time.
Yeah, it's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it's so that's crazy to think, nods to many of the old modules, old worlds.
The legends who made them, the people who crafted them, the people who brought all of this, wonderful thing to us, right? To us now, right? Yeah. And some of these legends we are losing. Of course, we just recently lost Janelle Jaquays, and as you know, one of my favorite adventures of all time, was Dark Tower.
Yep.
Magnificent, and and it's just a tragedy to lose Janelle. And others, we are losing others who are now, in their 70s and even in their 80s. And of course, we've lost Gary, some years back. And, it's just difficult.
Is anybody else from the Gyzengaxx family being a part of this, or no?
No, this was just with Luke and his immediate family. Yes, correct.
I wasn't sure because, I know that I think his brother does stuff as well through a different. They do.
Yeah, I think
things.
They all have different sort of things that they do, but I think they're pretty separate. Right. Of who's doing what. Luke is very focused on Gary Kahn and the Gaxx Works company that he founded. And again, I don't know so much about what other members of the family may be doing.
But yeah, no, and like I said, I'm looking at it right now, and I've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 30, 40 people on there, and
now, not all of them are legends, because
no, not all of them are legends.
Diane Gu are going to make an appearance, and you can see a couple of others there that are people. For me, they're legends because they've helped make GUI Cube successful, but they're not so much legends in the world. But there's definitely 25 or so truly amazing characters in this tale that
And there's some that are growing legends in today's
Correct.
world, and then there are some that are the legends of yesterday that have been doing this thing for goodness knows how long.
Yes, and not every one of them wanted to do a portrait. You know, marvelous Margaret Weiss was another one of my heroes. Just magnificent. Her skill and ability, her writing, all of the stuff that she does.
Archibald Fox.
Yeah, created Archibald Fox and made Archibald for our tale. So
yeah. So
it's incredibly special.
As always, like I said, Tabletop Misfits is a big supporter of Gooey Cube. We've been doing it for years. Going on 3 now. It's crazy.
Yeah, James, we've been good friends now.
We have, right.
We wouldn't be friends. Isn't that something? Yes.
Yeah, it is. So, and through Gooey Cube, we've met so many people. A lot of our players, or a lot of our guests, have come from connections. Most of the people actually, like, I'm honored to say that most of the people on that page, Gooey Cube has pretty much introduced me to. So there is that. But this is really going to be a unique and special homage to everything that TTRPGs are about.
Yeah, that's really our goal. Luke and I both want to, for a new generation, bring a little bit of love for the past, you know, and it'll all be remade and very different, right? We're not taking any of those tales. We're making our own tale. The nods are there. The Easter eggs are there. Yeah. If you look for them.
And some of the Easter eggs, I mean, I hate to say it, like even I won't catch because
no, we got lots of secret ones. Yes, we got all kinds of secret ones. Yeah.
So, but no, this has been a fun conversation of just not only telling a little bit about what the world is going to look like in Gyzengaxx, but also to just give that respect to the people that are writing it and that are putting their heart and soul into it, because it's weird to think that, you know, 50 years of gaming that people have been doing it, if not more at this point. So
yeah, James, I was in my teens.
Yeah. Can't even imagine your teens.
I mean,
I hate to say that. It's partially because I know Mike, though. That's the only reason I can't imagine you in your teens. I'm like, but I know your son. Like, it's different.
Yeah, it's just beyond belief. You know, I think back upon it and playing with my friends and going to the game store in Montclair near where I grew up, and going to Games of Berkeley, which was the real, you know, my real favorite game store for many years, where I found Dwarven Forge for the first time. They're running a marvelous Kickstarter right now. I got a bid on it. I haven't done it yet.
Same. I'm dreading. I was like, so I will say, as we close down, first, make sure if you've not gone, I'm asking this as a favor of Misfits as well as Gooey Cube. If you have not checked out the Kickstarter yet, go check it out. They've got some very small rewards that you can get, so you can at least get the modules, or the story itself. If you want to go over and above, you can get autographs and you can get special. Well, I think the special events are all gone at this point. But
yeah, I think we're pretty close. We might add a couple more, but I honestly, if someone can afford $200, which we tried to make it as approachable as possible, James, you know,
get everything. You get everything in $200.
Yes, for about $200, you get all the digital stuff. You won't get all of the stretch goals in physical. We just couldn't do that. It was too expensive. I made that mistake the last time, and
we know. I'm not even gonna kid you. I messaged Mikey earlier today, and I was like, "Mikey, what's your dad doing?"
But you got to admit, these stretch goals are looking good, sir.
They are, and sadly, I'm gonna have to spend a little extra money to get at least the dice, because I need a new set of
big
dice.
Red gooey dice with the skull inside.
Yeah.
And did you see Chet's artwork for our T-shirt for our
I did. Yep, I saw it.
Yeah.
It looks nice. I mean, I purchased at a pretty high level, so I'm hoping I got the T-shirt for free. So
I don't know, so I have to look. It said so if you did, so it's there. But listen.
I think it said so. So
yeah, go to the Kickstarter and please do consider backing. Please tell some people about it. Right, this thing is going very, very well. We don't open up Ed Greenwood's adventure till $600,000, and right now we are at 430,000 or so, something like that. So I strongly believe we will get well past that. We still have 11 days to go. 10
Yeah,
and a half.
and like I said, and we've got a huge drive at GaryCon this year coming up in a week. So
Correct.
Yeah, so definitely go check out their Kickstarter. As for the Misfits, we're doing a couple new things this year as well. One of them came out of the blue because people really enjoyed seeing it. So two things. The first one is I'm running a giveaway with my friend Arclight Court. I'm doing a private 4 to 6 player game, playing in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers RPG.
All right.
And just to give a little homage to the 90s of me, like when I grew up. But it's going to be a private game. But the way we're doing it is go over to Instagram and you like it, you tag 2 people in it, and you follow the Instagram, and that's all it's going to take. And then we're going to do a giveaway, and we're going to pick out 4 to 6 people depending on how many people we get to choose for it. The second thing is kind of a shot in the dark, but it's more of a pass along for me. If you didn't get a chance to check it out last week, we did an unboxing. It was me and my son. We broke down a lot of Dwarven Forge from the newest Kickstarter, and he had so much fun. And when I told him that Starforge was coming out, he asked immediately, "Are we getting this too?" So we're now talking about what that's going to look like. But what we're thinking about doing is 30 to 40 minute builds where he's going to build, and then the audience is going to tell the story that what he's building, and it's going to be called Dwarf Builds, and we're going to do a little Ko-Fi stuff for him. So all that money, all that donations, if you want to send 3D models, things like that, it's all going to go for that little man to build as much as he wants, because he's having a field day with this stuff, and it's awesome. Little Misfits Dungeons, yeah, literally is what it's going to turn into. And I actually like that name too. So
that's fantastic.
But yeah, so if you're going to GaryCon, hopefully we see you there. Come find us. Go check out the GUI Cube booth. I'm sure they're gonna have a huge amount of stuff here for the Kickstarter as well, all as their other stuff. And is there anything else you want to say, Kim?
No, my friends. First of all, a lot of GUI people have already supported us. We are incredibly thankful. We have lots of new backers and lots of new people joining the GUI Den. You've seen that, James, and it's just wonderful and humbling and exciting, because to be able to bring this thing forward and be able to show what a lot of people would have no idea about GUI Cube without this. It's so exciting, and I honestly believe it's very collectible. I think it's an eminently collectible thing, because unlike other companies that might make it huge, might make thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of copies, the limited edition version you're only getting as part of this Kickstarter. Now that's not entirely true, because we'll have a few left over, right, that we'll have at GUI Cube, but there won't be many. And so the people who back this Kickstarter are really going to get a little piece of history, something I think that's going to be very special, and also I think eminently collectible.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I'm one of those suckers that buy everything collectible, so there's that. But
me too.
We're here. We know who we are. It's okay. But no, this is you were our 100 episode guest just a few months ago.
I remember. It was wonderful, James.
And it was fantastic. And to be able to continue to just give back to the community and to give back to GUI Cube for what they've done for me as the Misfits has been a joy. And like I said, can't wait to see you guys again. Normally, I only get to see you two times a year. I get to see you in Colorado, and I get to see you at Indianapolis. But GaryCon was just something I had to try to get to this year, and everything worked out. So we'll see you again in a week, and we'll share some drinks and hopefully do some lives if I can rank my brain into doing it. But I've also built my entire weekend there is going to be doing nothing but gaming, and most of it's indie gaming. It's third-party content that's going to be released by other companies, because that was my goal going to GaryCon, was to be able to show off and see everything that's going to be going on there. We'll miss not seeing you guys at GaryCon, but Adepticon calls. Yeah, I'm sorry. Rolo Burning Sky. Will you be at Gen Con? Because if you'll be at Gen Con, then we'll see you there.
We will indeed be at Gen Con, and I think you will be too. Yes, James?
Yes, I will. I'm already being slotted right now. It's Dan. Oh, okay. Hi, Dan. I didn't know who it was. All I see is names, and there's no names next to them. So I'm turning into you, where it's like I don't know. I've got handles, I've got names, I've got Discord names.
The handles. This for an old man like me that can't remember like he used to. This handle thing drives me crazy.
Right, and especially on Twitch when you've got new people coming in and out. That's like sometimes I don't know who pops in, who pops out. But yeah, no, we'll be at Gen Con. I don't know if I'll be with Gooey Cube at Gen Con yet or not. That is up in the air. I could be there with Gen Con. We'll see how that goes. There's talk with Peter.
Talk to them about it, James. Or
so I'm sorry. Tomorrow, Austin and I are sitting down to actually apply for our live play this year with Dress to Quest. So we've got to fill out the whole gambit of things. Explaining how we're going to do things and whatnot. Hopefully we've got a whole crew set up for it. I'd love to have Dwarven Forge out there to really give off that vibe. But we're going to see what happens. So keep an eye out for us. Keep an eye out for Gooey Cube, and we'll see you guys all not next week, because next week I'll be at GaryCon. And then the following week, we have a special guest coming on to take over my spot, because I'll be at a work trip, but somebody's going to take over my spot, as we have the Drew's Basement, who's coming back as he is getting ready to launch his new Kickstarter. So he's going to talk to us all about that. So we'll see you guys all in 2 weeks. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.